anything truly is possible. You know, you hear so many people say that, but it really is possible.
Brianna, you have had quite a busy couple of weeks.
Yes.
My first question for you, just how are you feeling with everything?
I feel so good. I honestly feel a little overwhelmed with gratitude. Um, it's just been amazing to see all the responses that I've been getting, and my heart is just really full. Honestly, I feel very happy.
So tell me first for our viewers, we're the ABC station here in Dallas. Tell me a little bit about your life. I know you're from Denton. What kind of stuff are you involved in the community? What does your husband do? Or your kids in the school district? Like, tell me a little bit about your local ties here.
So I moved here probably when I was around 11, 12 years old. And we actually lived out in Sanger for a while. And that's kind of where I finished my school years. I started out in Denton, though, in middle school, but high school years, I went to Sanger. And then when my husband and I got married, we decided that we loved Denton and I love to go shopping. And Denton is a place to do all of those things. So it just grew my heart. And we serve and help alongside a church here in Denton. And so it's kind of just, it's been a home for us, really, and just a very awesome community, I will say.
Talk to me about your singing journey before Idol. How long have you been singing? Has it been a lifelong journey? How long have you been pursuing a career in music? Just kind of take me through that.
I started singing at a really, really young age, just in church. My biggest inspiration growing up was my mom. My mom actually sings a lot, and my great aunts, they used to have like a little trio. You know, it wasn't anything crazy or big, but they would go to different churches and sing. And it just really, I loved it. I loved to sing with my mom, but I didn't really get into like my own singing journey until we moved to the Denton area. And it was because we had to relocate because of my nephew. He had to be an hour radius of Dallas for his heart. And a lot of complications started taking place in his life. And I realized that there was a lot of things in my life that I was kind of clinging on to, never really let out, if that makes any sense. And I found myself singing my way through those battles, if that makes any sense. And it just kind of started growing from there. I would say around 10 years old, 11 years old, I was asking my mom, I need a piano, I need a guitar, I need drums, just anything I could get my hands on. I wanted to learn, I wanted to sing. And it just sparked, that little interest in my heart. I'd sit there for hours and hours and I would just play the piano and talk to God and I would release all these emotions and all these feelings that, I was facing maybe back then or currently at the moment. And it was just an outlet. And I've been pursuing music even stronger when I got married. My husband is a freak of nature. He can play anything, and that's something I've always wanted to do. But God kind of put us together, and it's kind of how we got together is just the love of music. And when we got married, we were like, hey, like, what are we gonna do with this? Like, let's start posting on TikTok. Let's do YouTube. And a lot of things happened in life, so we kind of got distracted from it. But now that it's kind of slowed down a little bit, we're like, hey, let's get this platform started and let's share our music, because we both have the desire to help people, kind of like how it helped me. I want to give hope to people, and yeah, that's kind of how it started. Hope that made sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Did
Yeah.
you sing at church as a kid in Denton? What church did you sing at?
So I sing at Faith Tabernacle Assembly of God. It's a local church here in Denton. And how I got started in that was actually in my youth group. I would go to the Friday night services and they would have it kind of like a mini Sunday service for the youth kids, just a time to get away. And I used that to hang out with my friends. But I got asked to start singing worship for the youth group and almost had a heart attack because the only person who ever heard me sing at that time was my mom. But I went ahead and I was like, yeah, sure. I had a lot of trial and error, I will say, with that, and a lot of things that I learned, but it grew me. Even now to this day, even just being 25 years old, from that time span, just singing in church, it grew me into the artist that I am now and that I'm pursuing to be. So a lot of the experience that I have is definitely in church.
Take me from Denton to Idol. I loved your audition. Walk me through just sort of the mindset you went in with, and then we'll talk about some of the specifics of your actual audition.
Going to sing in front of the judges for American Idol was probably one of the most intimidating things I think I've ever done. I signed up for American Idol kind of like as a joke. I always heard my whole life, from my mom and my family, the ones who did hear me sing, you need to try out for American Idol. you need to sing and you need to do this, you need to do that. And I saw an ad and it was for American Idol for the next season, this season coming up. And I didn't tell my husband, I didn't tell no one. But the videos that we started on the platform, TikTok, I just grabbed one and I submitted it and I forgot about it. And then around 2 months later, I checked my email and it said they liked it. And I was like, oh my word, now I have, like, what was going on? Like, I got to actually do this thing. And so a bunch of fear came over me because I still kind of struggle with stage fright. But I've been so inspired just in my weight loss journey alone, just to do things that scare you, things that intimidate you, because you can do it, and I wanted to take a chance. It's always been a dream, just never thought I could actually do it. And so going in there with the American Idol judges, it was kind of just like a push of confidence in my own direction, if that makes any sense. I wanted to prove to myself that I could do this thing that I always dreamed about, and that
You did.
alone, yes, I did. I did. I did.
Let me ask you, in which city did you audition in again? Remind me.
I auditioned in Nashville, Tennessee.
So from Denton to Nashville, you go in there. I cannot imagine the intimidation that must feel like. You've got, I mean, all of the judges, but you're about to sing a Carrie Underwood song in front of Carrie Underwood.
Yes.
Um, I think when she said to you, "You're never just a stay-at-home mom," that was a moment that really resonated with a lot of people. What did that feel like to hear from her?
I wanted to honestly bawl my eyes out in that moment. Because so many times, America, just in general, and people in general, like to downplay a stay at home mom. And we do feel insignificant because we don't play a huge, important role, it seems. But behind closed doors, it never ends. The task never stops. The late nights, the early mornings, like sometimes husbands, not discrediting them or just men in general, they get to go to bed at night and not have to worry about it. But mama is still running for maybe the couple hours of sleep that she got to deal in the middle of the night with the kid who's sick. And it's a mentally tolling job on your brain. And when she said that, I walked in there just thinking like, I'm not anything special. Like I don't gig. I don't have anything crazy going for me. I'm just a church girl and a stay at home mom, and when she validated me, I wanted to just bawl because it just meant so much coming from someone like Carrie Underwood, who in my eyes has really made it in life. And for her to credit me as having the most important job, it was just amazing.
Have you gotten a lot of feedback from women on Instagram, in Denton, in life, that also felt really moved by that moment?
I've had a ton of comments and DMs and different things just flooding through social media, telling me how much of inspiration I am to them and how much it meant for me to go and chase after this dream, being a stay at home mom, and just how much they needed that comment and that validation, from Carrie Underwood with something I told her, and I really felt like I wasn't alone. And it's just been overwhelming.
It was a beautiful moment, and really special. And I'm glad to see that you're still feeling all the feelings because I think a lot of America did. You sang a Carrie Underwood song in front of Carrie Underwood, and I'm a lifelong Idol watcher, and I'm always impressed by people who decide to sing judges' songs. How did you come to that decision?
So really, Carrie Underwood is just one of my favorite artists. And so I was like, you know what? Let's just sing a Carrie Underwood song. This is my only time that I'll ever get to, meet her in person, probably. Let's just do it with the bang. But honestly, the song that I picked, the reason why I picked it was such a big deal to me because I experienced it. And I know that sounds crazy, but my son and I actually got into a really bad car accident just about 4 or 5 months before the show, before I even decided to try out. And I just experienced that exact moment in that song. And, I grew up listening to Carrie Underwood, but that song just resonated different in my heart after experiencing it. And so that's why I picked that song, just because it had such a big emotion behind it.
Wow, I didn't know that. And you guys are okay? You were injured, or you're all right from it still?
Yeah, me and Emerson are doing our car completely totaled, but Emerson and I are doing great. I do have some issues with my back and my neck, but God has really helped me and touched me. And it's just, yeah, we were doing great.
Wow. So special. The other thing I wanted to touch on is you talked about your weight loss journey. And so
Mhm.
I'm curious how that has impacted, your lens of all of this, sharing that with America? Have you gotten a lot of comments about how that's helped other women? Because I think you hit on two things that a lot of ladies deal with. What has that been like to share that part of your life?
Sharing my weight loss journey, it's been very emotional for me because when I started, the person that I was versus who I am now is completely different. Um, and I just remember being one of those people that would message people that had success in their weight loss journey because I was just so desperate. Like, what can I do? Can you please help me? Just going through all of these questions. And for people to finally look at me and ask me, it's inspiring, and it makes me basically want to get it even more together, if that makes any sense, and finish my weight loss journey. I still am on my weight loss journey, and that's been a roller coaster in itself. Going through food addiction and things like that, it's a very big hard struggle, but it inspires me, like it truly does, and it makes me just want to be better for other people. And I have such a heart that just wants to give hope. I want to help anybody out there that may be worried like about their health, and I want to give them clarity on things about food and just nutrition. And it's amazing. It's just such a fun thing to talk about. I never dreamed that me being over 300 pounds to where I am right now would be someone that could help someone with that exact issue that was mine for so long.
I want to talk to you about Emerson falling asleep on Carrie Underwood. Did you, as you were singing, were you like, oh my God, he's falling asleep on Carrie Underwood?
Yeah, Emerson is a normal toddler. That's all I got to say. He is energetic, he's crazy. And a lot of moms know that you either get one side or the other when it comes to a sleepy toddler. And right before we walked in the audition, we had a very long day, and all I could see in his eyes was that he was going to probably be tired. And I thought, man, he's going to come in here and he's going to probably scream and cry, and his audition is going to go so south and so crazy. And as soon as I walked in there, all I could think about was, Carrie, can you hold Emerson? And I thought maybe if someone's holding him and comforting him, that he will kind of calm down and chill out. But him falling asleep was so unexpected. I just remember singing the song and looking over and kind of seeing him drift out. And I thought, oh Lordy. And it was just so special. I wanted to stop right there in the middle of the song and be like, he's falling asleep on Carrie Underwood. It was really hard to hold it together, but it was a memory that, well, I will forever have in my life. And I know my son, when he grows up, he has no idea what happened. But when he does, it's going to be so special. It was truly a moment I'll never forget.
And if I remember correctly, you moved her to tears
I did.
between your audition and her holding Emerson. I know she's one of your idols. What did that mean for idol? That was no pun intended. What did that mean for you to see her so moved by you, your work, and your family?
That really motivated me. Carrie Underwood saw potential in me. And growing up and stuff, throughout my weight loss journey, becoming a mom, I really struggled with belief in myself. And, just going alone to perform in front of the judges was something that I had to really like hunker down on and say, dude, let's do this. You can do it. And I had to fight that little thing inside of me that was saying I couldn't. And for Carrie Underwood to cry and then also tell me that it was an honor to sing her song, like, I don't have the words. I'm speechless for it. It's motivating, it's inspiring, and it really just truly makes me want to just keep going and being the best version of myself that I can. And yeah, it's just been amazing.
It sounds like you've been through a lot, both as a child and then a weight loss journey. Obviously, mom is the hardest job. And I know you said you've struggled with belief in yourself over the years. As a whole, when you look at this journey of everything that's happened in the audition, here you are now doing interviews about your amazing audition. What have you learned about belief in yourself from this process?
It sounds so cliche, but anything truly is possible. You hear so many people say that, but it really is possible. And even though something might scare you to death, it doesn't mean that you can't do it. And I think that's something that I'm realizing, even though it's hard, it's worth it. And regardless of the outcome, there's always some kind of learning experience that you can get from it. And just doing something like American Idol, I already said before that it was a dream of mine since I was a little girl, but I just never did it because I never thought I could. And so facing that fear and being where I am right now, and seeing all the outpouring love and support from America, man, like it just lights a fire up in my soul. And it makes me just want to tell little girls out there that were just like me, or mamas, or just people in general, dude, go get it. Whatever you want, you can have it, but take that chance. Life is too short to spend it in fear, and that fear crippling you. Take that fear and let it motivate you and run after it and go get the things that you want. So I really just feel so fired up.
Do you believe in yourself now?
I do believe in myself. Of course, everyone has those things that they struggle with. And so, of course, those things, come back and, um, try to haunt me in my mind. But looking back at all the things that I've already achieved, I try to dwell on that more than anything. And, God is my strength. And I think the biggest thing that I look on is what He says about me. And God says that I'm powerful, through His eyes, and I'm beautiful and fearfully and wonderfully made. And that is something that I like to dwell on. And so, through confidence in Him, I do believe in myself. He's my source.
My last one or two questions for you, because I know you have a busy schedule. First, what has the reaction in Denton been ever since this aired? I mean, like school teacher, the person like who gives you your, checking out at the groceries. Are people recognizing you in town? Are people calling you? Are they like, oh my God, I just saw you on American Idol? What has the Denton reaction been like?
The reaction from the Denton folk, just in general, have been insane. I've had a couple moms come up to me, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, can I get a picture with you? You're on American Idol. And I just kind of stand and I'm in shock because I'm like, what? What? Oh, me, I was on American Idol, but they just make you feel like you're on top of the world. Like I'm an average person, there's nothing crazy. We're all human. But they make you feel like you're just so cool. And it's just been awesome. It's something I've never experienced. And so if people see me, I'm always telling them, hey, get a picture with me, talk to me, because it's awesome. We're all friends is what I like to think. And yeah, they're so supportive. It's awesome.
Well, we're all rooting for you here at home. Hollywood Week is coming up. How are you feeling? What's your mindset? And what are you looking forward to most?
Hollywood Week is coming up. And so, of course, I get a little butterfly in my stomach, kind of little turn going. Um, it's always intimidating for the idol contestants. Hollywood Week is a big cut. So it's very intimidating and scary. But I've just been preparing, preparing my mind, trying to simmer my nerves down. And I'm ready. I'm ready to hopefully rock Hollywood Week and get through. You never know.
A final message from you to the folks here at home who are going to be watching your journey in North Texas. What would you want to say?
Go get it. Go get it. Whatever you want in life, chase after it, and don't let fear stop you. Let it motivate you. And do it for your babies and all you stay-at-home moms. You are so seen and you are so important, as Carrie Underwood said, and also myself. Don't let that stop you. Do it for your babies, and above all, put God first.